River run, past even Adams, from swerve of shore to bend of bay, brings us a commodious vicus of recirculation back to Howth Castle and environs. Sir Tristram, Viola de Mores, for over the short, had Pessancourt arrived from North America on his side in the scraggly isthmus of Europe Minor to welder fight his Pensulate war, nor had Topsawyer's rocks by the steam Oconee exaggerated themselves to Lawrence County gorgios, while they went Dublin their mupper all the time. Nor a voice from a fire bellowsed mishy to Tartuffe Toff, Thart Petrick, not yet, though Venesoon after had a kid-scad buttoned a bland old Isaac, not yet, though all's fair in vanity, were Sosie Sethers Roth Betwone Nathan Joe, brought a peck of Pa's malt and Gemmer Shen brewed by Arclight and Rory End to the Regenbrow was to be seen ringsome on the aquaface.
The Fall. Baba Badel Gara Gara Takamina Ronkon Roton Aaron 2 and Thuntavar Rounhanskan 2 Orden and Threnuk of a once wall straight old par is related early in bed and later in life down through all Christian minstrelsy. The great fall of the off-wall entailed at such short notice the pursuit of Finnegan, Earth's salad man, and the Humpty Hill head of himself promptly sends an unquerring one well to the west in quest of his Humpty Tumtoes and their upturned Pike Point and place is at the knockout in the park where oranges have been laid to rust upon the greens since Devlin's first loved Livy.
What clashes here of wills gen wants, Austri gods, gaggin fishy gods, brack, kakik, coax, ulu, koa. Where the Baudelaires, Parisians, are still out to Master Malcolmus McGrains, and the Verdens catapulting the cannibalistics out of the white voice of Hoodie Head. Azagates and boomerang stroms, sod brood, be me fear, Sanglorians, save! Arms appeal with larms, appalling, killy, atoll. What chance cuddlies, what cashels aired and ventilated, what bitter meter loves seduced by, what Tagada Busolvers, what true feeling from there's hay air, and what stunning voices of false Jacob. Oh, here, how hath Spald met the ducks of this father and the fornicationist butt. O my shining star and body, how hath fan-span most high heaven the sky sign of soft advertisement. But what is it? Ere were sewers? The oaks of Ald, now they lie in the peat, yet elms leap where asks lay. Fall if you will, but well, rise you must. And none so soon either shall the farce of the nuance come to the set-down secular finish.
Bygmeister Finnegan, of the stuttering hand, Freeman's manure, lived in the broadest way imaginable, in his rush-lit, too far back for messages before Joshuan judges had given us numbers of Helvicticus committed Deuteronomy. One yesterday, he sternly struck his teat in a tub for to watch the furniture of his fates, but ere he swiftly took it out again, by the might of Moses, the very water was evaporated, and all the Guenessanes had met their exodus, so that ought to show you what a penshanguerky chap he was. And during mighty odd years of this man of Hod, cement and edifices in Toper's Thorpe piled building supra building pon the banks for the livers by the Songsko. song so. He addle little fifey Annie ugged the little crather, with her hair and Hans tucked up for your part in her. Off while bulbous mither ahead, with goodly trowel and grasp, and ivory-oiled overalls, which habitually, fancied like Hauron Childeric Egbirth, he would caligulate by multiplicables the altitude and multitude, until he seesaw by the neat light of the liquor where twin 'twas born, his roundhead staple of other days to rise in undress masonry upstanded, joy grant it, a wall worth of skyscrape, of most Eiffel hoith and towerly, originating from next to nothing and celestialating the Himmels and all hierarchetical tip-tip-pluffalical, with a burning bush abob of its bauble top, and with Laurens O'Toolers clittering up and tumbles of buckets cloitering down.
Of the first was he to bear arms and a name, Wassily Bouslaer of Reisengeborg. His crest of heraldry invert with ancillars, troublant, argent, and hedgeoak, poisuvant, horrid, horned, his scushcrum fest with arkers strung, helio of the second. Hooches for husbandman handling his hoe. Ho, 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 Mr. Finn, you're going to be Mr. Finnegan. Come day morn and, oh, your vine. Senday's eve and, ah, your vinegar. Ha, 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 Mr. Fun, you're going to be finned again.
What then agent-like brought about that tragedy Thunder's Day, this municipal sin business? Our cube house still rocks as ear witness to the thunder of his artifadas, but we hear also through successive ages that shebby choriosh of uncalified muzzle misa hymns. That would blackguardize the white stone enter hurtled out of heaven. Stay us, wherefore, in our search for tightiousness. O sustainer, what time we rise, and when we take up the toothpick, and before we lump down upon our leather bed, and in the night and at the fading of the stars. For a nod to the Nabir is better than wink to the Wapzanti. Otherwise we's ways like the Provost scoffing between the Jebel and the Caspian Sea. Crow-Parib and the Crunchbacken shall decide. Then we'll know if the feast is the fly day. She is a gift of seek on sight, and she all casually and SARS helpers, the dream dreary. Heed, if may have been a misfired brick, as some say, or it mought have been due to the collapsus of his back promises, as others looked at it. There extant by now 1,001 stories, all told of the same. But so sore did Abe ite Ivy's highlighted Abels, what with the walls halls, horrors of Rolls Royce, car hacks, stone gens, kiss veins, tram trees, vargaballers, autokinotons, hippohobules, street fleets, turnin taxes, megafogs, circuses and wardsmorts, and basilisks, and Arapo gods, and the hoist, and the jolly brule, and the peeler in the coat, and the Meckleburg bitch bite at her ear, and the Merlin Burrow Burrocks in his 4 old poor coats, the boar, the moor, and his blight black working stacks, at 12 pines a dozen, and the noble busses slading along Safety First Street, and the dairy jelly buys snooping around Tell No Taylor's corner, and the fumes and the hopes and the stupid hump of the vile indigenous Roman keepers, Home sweepers, dome creepers, thrum and fancy mud murmured in all the uproar from all the off-roofs, a roof for May and a reef for Hugh, but under the bridge suits Tony. Juan did shake. There was a wall, of course, in erection. Dim, he stuttered from the ladder. Damn, he was dud. Dum, mastabatum, when a mon marries his lutes and all long, for whole the world to see.
Shizi, I should see, Makul, ora why I deed ye dee, of a tryin' Thursday mornin', sobs they cited at Finnegan's Chrysormis wake, all the hooligans of the nation prostrated in their consternation and their duodecimally profusive plethora of ululation. There was plums and grooms and sheriffs and citers and raiders and cinnamon too, and they all gained in the shoutmost joviality, Agog and Magog, and the round of them arog, to the continuation of the celebration until Han and Hunnigan's extermination. Some in kin chorus more, can keening, belling him up and filling him down. His stiff but his steady is priam olim. 'Twas he was decent, glabering youth. Sharpen his pillow scone, tap up his beer. Ere where in this world would ye hear such a din again? With their deep brow fundigs and their dusty fidelios, they laid him a brondon angleless bed, with bacalyps or finnisky for his feet, and a barrow-load of Gwennis o'er his head. The tootle of the fluid hang, the twaddle of the fuddled, oh.
Hurrah, there is but young Glebe for the owl globe wheels in view, which is tautologically the same thing. Well, him a being so on the flounder of his bulk like an overgrown babbling. Let we peep, see, at hum. Well, see, PG, ought he ought, platter plate to hum. From Shopalist to bailiwick, or from Ashton to Baranoth, or from by the banks to round the head, and from the foot of the hill to Irreglant's eye he calmly extensilize, all the way a horn. From fjord to fell his bay winds ababos shall wait him rock-bound. Ho, 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 in swim, swum, all the lively long night, the Delly-dale dappling night, the night of blurry bells, her flit-a-flute in ticky troshes. O Carina, wake him. With her Essavans and her Patterjack Martins, about all them inns and ouses, tilling a teal of a tum, telling a toll of a teary, turdy tobbling. Grace before glutton. For what we are, gifts a gross if we are about to believe. So pool the bag and pass the kish for caw's sake. Omen, so sigh us. Grandpapa's all fallen down, but Grinny spreads the board, weighs on the joint of a desh, finfo fam the fush. Was be his bacon head, a loaf of single pantry's Kennedy bread, and haw's hitchhead to the hop of his tail, a glass, a Danu Udunnels, foamus old Dublin ale, but lo, as you would quaff off his fraud stuff and sink teeth through the pith of the flower-white body. Behold of him as behemoth, for he is no hemo. Finish! Only a photograph of a yestern scene, almost Robicund, Salmosalar, ancient, from out the ages of the Achaemenides. He is smolten in our midst, woebecanned and packed away. So that meal's dead off the sun man, Shluk, Schleiss, and good rid hearing.
Yet may we not see still the Brontag Jan from outline dissembered, even in our own nightmare by the sedge of the toutling stream that Bronto loved and Brunto has a lean on. Hic cubit elidelis apun libertanum parvalum. What if she be in flags or flitters, reeky rags or sundice corsies, with the mint of mines or beggar a pennyweight? Arrah, sure, we all love little Annie Rooney. Or, we mean to say, lovely little Annie Raini. When under her brella, mid-piddle, mid-puddle, she nanny goes, nancing by. Yo Brodalone slaps, yo snores, upon Ben Heather, in Sepal Isotu, the chronic head on him, caster of his reason, Pier Yuffner in yon mist. Whooth! His clay feet swarded in verdi grass, stick up stark where he last fell in him, by the mund of the magazine wall, where our Maggie seen all, with her sistren shawl, while over against the Bell's alliance behind 360, old loud ill, bag side of the fort, tar bomb, lurk the ambushes. The sight of the lifing and weight of the upjock and hockums. Hence, when the clouds roll by, Jamie, a proud's eye view is enjoyable of our moulding mass, now Wallenstone National Museum, within some greenish distance the charmful Waterloose country and the two quite white vignettes who here show of themselves so gigglesome mix the foliages and the prettilies. Penetrators that are permitted into the museum mound free, Welsh and the Paddy Patkinses o' Sri Lank. Redmish members, invalids of old guard, find pussy pram to sate the sort of their butt. For her Pansky supply to the janitrix, the mischief Kaith, tip.
This the way to the musee room. Mind your hats, gone in. Now yez are in the Willingdon musee room. This is a Prussius gun. This is a French. Tip. This is the flag of Prussius, the cap and sorcerer. This is the bullet that bing the flag of the Prussius. This is the French that fire on the bull that bang the flag of the Prussius. Salus in the cross gun, up with their pike and fork. Tip. Bull's foot, fine. This is the tipple one hat of Lipolium. Tip, Lipolium hat. This is the Willingdon on his same white horse, the Cokenhape. This is the big Srochter, Willingdon, grand and magenic, in his gold tin spurs and his iron ducks and his quarter brass woody shoes and his magnate's garters and his Bangkok's best and his Goliar's galoshes and his Polynesian wartrews. This is his big white horse. Tip. This is a 3 Lipolium boing grouching down in the living ditch. This is in my skill in English. This is a Scotcher grey. This is a Davy. Stupid. This is a bog Lipolium mortar in the Lipolium bag. A Galloway's argument. This is a pretty Lipolium boy that was ne'er bag nor bug. I say, touch old Fitz Tomsha, Dirty Mac Dack and Harry O'Hurry, all them Armins Varmins. All this Dillon Alps, this is Montival, this is Montipsy and the Grand Mons Engine. This is the Criminal Lion of the Alps, hooping, shelter shock, and 3 Lipoliums. This is the Ginnies with their leghorns feigning to read the handmade book of strategy while making their war undisease in the will and done. The Ginnies a cooing their hand, and the Ginnies a raving their hair, and the will and done get up the brand up. This is Big Will and Done, Morntal, Towel Scoop, Wonder Worker, upsides in the flanks of the Ginnies. Sex Caliber Horsepower. Tip, this is Belchun sneaking his Philippi out of his own most awful grimace Sunshat Gromwelly. Looted. This is Ginny's haste and dispatch for to irrigate the Willendun. Dispatch and the red lines cross the shore front of the Belchum. Yaw, 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 leaper Arthur, fear seeking, field gazing thy tiny frau, hog acting, nap. That was the tic-tacs of the Ginnies and the Fulton Annie and the Willendun. She. The Ginnies is for Fontenoy, the Willendun. She. Ginny is the Gillis of Horton and all the Lipoliums, and all the Lipoliums gone to boycotting crazy into the Willendun, and the Willendun get up band, and the bowed Belchin bonnet to busy breaking his screw word with the ball in his ear into the Willendun. This is the Willendun's hurled dispatch break. Dispatch deployed on the regions of Rare for Mechlin. Salamangra, aye. Jerry Ginny's fig tree you, damn fairy Ann Votra. Well and done, this is the first big joke of the well and done. Tick for tack. Hee. This is the Belchum of the 20-mile cow chuck sweet tweet and stamp forth foremost foot in the camp for the Ginnies. Drank a sip. For he's a sooner buy a Guinness than he'd stale sore stout. This is a Rucius Balls. This is a Trench. This is a Mistletops. This is a cannon footer with the poppy nose and his 100 days engines. This is the Blessed, Tara's Witters, and the Ginnies and the bonny brawn bluches. This is the Lipolium and the rowdy houses. This is the Will and Done, and the splinters of cork order fire. Town airy. Bowls ear, play. This is the Camelry, this is the Floodens, this is the Sulphurines in the action. This is their Mob Willie, this is their Panic Burns. And Melody did God, hearth it's to lose. This is the Well and Done cry. Brum, come brum. This is Ginny's cry. Underwetter, goat strip fin lambs. This is Ginny's raining down the outsters down the bunk shears with a nippy nip and a trippy trip so airy. For the heart's right there. Tip, this is Bellenchum's tinkering you tank you silver plate for this kitchen and the crepes full cool of his canister. Pour the pay. This is the Bismarck of the Marathon Mary, the Ginnies they left behind them. This is the Will and Don Branlish, the same Marmallow Talon Scoop Soft Key Poo for this royal diversion on the runaway Ginnies. Gambaristi, Della Portia, Dalavaries Frimaries. This is the prettiest of the Lipoliums, Topher Thief, the spy on the Will and Done for his big white horse, and Capenhope. Stonewall Will and Done is the old Maxie Montremenny. Lipoliums the nice hung bushelers. This is a hyena Hennessy laughing about the Will and Done. This is a lipsy dooley creaking the funk in the Hennessy. This is a Hindu shimmer shin, the dooley boy and the Hennessy. Tip, this is a old Wixie Willen picking up the half three-fold hat of Lipoliums from out in the bottle butt. This is the Hindu wax and the Ramajad, the boom shop. This is the Will and Done hanging the half of the tip of the Linoleums and the bucking of the big white horse. Tip, that was the best last joke of Will and Done. Hit. This the shame this white horse of the Will and Done. Gulping help, wagging his tailor, scrubbing the hat of the Lipoliums, insulted the Hindu sea boy. Bowls rag, foul. This is the sea boy, mad Stratatus, up jumping the pumpkin crying the Will and Done. Up a puppa yup. This is the Will and Done, Barnstable gentleman, tenders his max cloth and the Kernson shimmer shin. By sucker you stead. This is the Dorfin sea boy, blow the hole in the cap of in the half of the hat of the Lipoliums off the top of the cowl and the back of his white horse. Tip, bullseye game. How you Copenhagen ending? This is the way to the musée room. Mind your boots and going out. Phew.
What a warm time we're in there. But now Kelling is here the airabouts. We know where she lives, but you musta tell Anaon for the lamp of Jig-o'-lantern. It's a candle little house of a month and one windies. Down a down, high down a down, and the numered quaintil mine. And such reasonable weather too. The wagrants winds a waltz around, the pilt downs and the every blasted knolly rock. If you can spot 50, I spy 4 more. There's that gnarly bird gathering. Run a little, do a little, puree a little, pour a little, wapeel a little, kicks a little, sever a little, eat a little, whiny a little, ken a little, hef a little, palaf a little, gnarly bird. A very tableland of bleak barred fields. Under his 7 Rothschilds lies one, lump roar. His glaive toe-side him. Scud on torsed. Our pigeons pair are flown for Northcliffs. The 3 of crows have flapped out suddenly. Cracking of the backle of the quarters of that sky whence tributes answer. Well, 'tis well. She never comes out when Thon's on shower, and when Thon's flash with his Nixie girls, or when Thon's blowing tomb cracks down the gales of Tron. No, nubbo, no. Neblas, on you live. Her would be too moochy a freet of Burly Meg and Bindmelingrise and all the deed and the woe. Fee-fo fam, she just does hopes till buys will be buys. Here, and it goes on to appear now, she comes, a peacefugal, a parody's bird, a parry pot mother, a pringclick, and the Ilanskippy with Pee-wee, and the powwows in baggy of her Vicky back, and the flick flasks flinging its pixely lighting packs, who Mirami bows, picking here, pecking there, pussy, plunder pussy. But it's the Armitides tunai, Militopucus, and Tumorn. We wish for a muddy kissmans to the minutiae workers, and there's to be a gorgiups truce, for happiness child her everywhere. Come Nebo me and Suso sing and the day we Sally bright. She's burrowed the coacher's headlight, the better to pry. Who goes cute goes secure, and shoes are noun, and all spoiled goods go into her knapsack. Curdages and rattling buttons, nappy spattees and flasks of all nations, clavicures and scapulars, masks, keys, and wood piles of hay-pennies and moon-lead brooches with blood-sand breeks in 'em, Boston night garters and masses of shoe sets and knickly knacks and fodder, all Michael and Lugly Parson of the Cates and Howitzer Muchiers and Midgers and Maggots, ills and eels with loss of toffs and pleurs of bells and the last side that came fro the heart, Bucklead, and the fairest sin the sun saw. That's Sierra with kiss, Chris, kiss cross, undo lives end, slain.
How beautiful and how truthful, wife of her, when strangely forbidden to steal our historic presence from the past post-propheticals, so as to will make us all lordy heirs and lady maidnesses of a pretty nice kettle of fruit. She is living in our midst, of debt and lapping through all plores for us. Her birth is uncontrollable. With the Napoleon for her mask and her sabots kickin' Arius, so sair, so solly. If yous asks me, I sack you, Hoo, Grix may rise and Troycers fall, they being two sights forever a picture. For in the byways of high improvidence, that's what makes life worth leaving, and the world's a cell for sitters to sit in. Yet young women run away with a story and let young men talk smooth behind the butler's back. She knows her night's duty when Luntum sleeps. "Did you save any tin?" said he. "Did I what?" With a grin says she, and we all like a merry Dan because she is a mercenary, though the length of the land lies under liquidation. Flute! And there's ne'er a hair brow, nor an eye bush, nor a glabrous face of her shuffed warwelter. She's loan a Vesta and hire some peat and sarch the shores her cockles to heat, and she'll do all the turf woman can to piff the business on. Paff, the puff and blazoness on. Poff, poff. And even if Humpty shall fall, Frumpty times is awkward again in the beard's bosom of all our grand remonstrances. There'll be eggs for the breakers come the morning, sunny side up with care. So true in it that their wares will turn over, the tay is wet too, and when you think you catch sight behind, make sure but you're caught by a hin.
Then, as is on her behaviourate job of quenience bandy, fruiting for fistlings and taking her tithe, we may rake a review of the 2 mounds to see nothing of himples here and elsewhere by 6s and 7s, like so many Hegels and Collins and Sidon and a root and a scent beach and some to beak. Their swish-a-swash stains and their taff-a-taff lights playing Wharton's Folly and the Tree Purdy and the Planko and the Perk. Stand up, Mickos, make straight for Minas. By order of Nicholas Proud, we may see and hear nothing as if we chose of the short-legged Bergens of Corkhill and the Bergamores of Arbor Hill and the Bergamagals of Summerhill and the Bergensellies of Misery Hill or the country boss Bergens of Constitution Hill, though every crowd has its several tones and every trade has its clever mechanics and each harmonical has its own point of its own, Olaf's on the rise and Ivor's on the lift and Citrix placed between them. But then they all are scraping along to sneeze out like likelihood that will solve and save life, robustless and rebus hopping around this little middle, like keeping her on the girdle. Oh, as she lays dormant for the Macroborg of Hardhold Macrobud and Peed de Porter. Behove the sound of Irish sense. Really, here English might be seen. Royally, 1 sovereign pun to pettery pence. Regally, this silence speaks the scene. Fake.
So, this is Do You Belong? Hush, Caution, Echoland. How charmingly exquisite. It reminds you of the outwashed and gravure that we used to be blurring on the block wall of the inkempt house. Used they? I'm sure that tiring Shabelslover with the musical chocolate box, Myrie Mitchell, is listening. I say the remains of the outworn gremure were used to be the blurred of the tumult and the incubus. Used we? Here is only precedent to be struggling at the jubilee harp with a second existed listener, fiery Valerie. It is well known, Locke for himself and see the old butte new. Dublin WKOO here, by the mausoleum wall, fim, with the grand funfurl, fum, this optophone with Unterfane's list. Wheatstone's magic lyre, they will be tugging friver, they will be lichtening for a love. They will be pretumbling for over. The harpsichord, the harp's discord, shall be theirs for olives.
4 things, therefore, saith the hereditary Mammon Lugius in his grand old historium. Wrote now Borarum, bluest book in Vales Annals, feet in the Dyflinarski, ne'er saw fair till heather smoke and cloud-weed airs ill saw pale. And here now they are, the fear of 'em. Teetotaties, adar. A bluin boss are mounted upon an alderman. Aye, dumb, nizam, a shoe on a plur old woobans. Triam, Tammuz. Auburn maid, and O'Brien and O'Bride, the bead is started. A dear, quad libus. Marshivas van, a pen, no waiter, no pole post, and so, and all, Sukoth.
So how's idlers when turning pages on pages and innocence and that play Popeye anti-pop and leaves to live and broken the deeds of the animals and themselves time in the cycles against the national bring fossilized to pass? How? 1132 AD. Men, like ants or emmets, wander upon a grit-wide fallisk which lay in a runnel. Blubbly wears a pat oblanium. 566 AD. On Balthar's night of this year, after a deluge of a crone that had a wicked kish for a hail dead turves from the bog looked under the blay of her kish, as she ran for the soft siege, her curiosity and misal, but she found hersel sack of oil of swart. Goody heckin' shoon, small, elegant Bruges, and so rich in sweat, blurry works at Hundlesford.
Silent. 566 AD. At this time, it fell out that a brazen-locked damsel grieved, sober lass, because that puppet, her minion, was ravished of her by the ogre Puperus Pius, bloody wars in Babialgilia Valley, 1132 AD. 2 sons at an hour were born until a goodman and a his hag. These sons called themselves Caddy and Primus. Primus was a santry-man and drilled all decent people. Caddy went to wine-house and wrote a piece of farce. Bloody words for Dublin. Somewhere partly in the Ginadingo gap between Altadivius and Anadominant, the copyist must have fled with his scroll. The billy flood rose, or an elk charged him, or the saltrip whirled right from the excellenmost Empyrean bolt in sun. Earth spake, or the Dananmen Gallus banged panned the blitty Duran. A scribicide then and there is let off under Old's code, with some fine covered by 6 marks or 9 pins in meltmen, for the sake of his labour's dross, while it will only be now and again in our rear of our era, as an upshoot of military and civil engagements, that a Gannicure was led on to the scaffold for taking that same fine sum covertly by Mendelment with the drawers of his neighbour's safe.
Now after all that far-fetched and peregrine or dingernat or clear lift, we our ears eyes of the darkness from the tome of Liber Lindlitus, and how paceably ironical. All demurring dunes and glommering glades, self-stretches afar us over the freeland's plain. Lean 'neath stone pine, the pastor lies in his crook, young Prick and Pricket's sister, Neebleath, on returned viridities. Amid her rocking grasses, the herb trinity shams lowliness, sky up and ever gray. Thus, too, for donkeys' ears, since the bouts of he-beer and harrymen and cornflowers have then staying at Ballymun. The dusk rose has chosed with the goatstone hedges, tulips have pressed together them by sweet rush. Townland and twin lights, the white thorn and the red thorn have variegated in the May valleys of Knockmorone. And though, for rings around them, during a chiliad and a perihagangs, the the Formorians, have brittled and toothed the Danes, and the Oxman has been pestered by firebugs, and the joints have thrown up jerry buildings to the crevices, and the little on the green, and the child's father to the city, year, and laugh tears. These pack-sealing buttonholes have quadrilled across centuries, and whiff now waft to us, fresh and made, of all smiles as, on the eve of Kill-All-Who.
The babblers with their thangas vain have been, confusium hold them. They were and went, thigging thugs were, and Hooneman songtums were, and comely Norgels were, and polyful fancies. Men have thawed, clerks have surmised, surhummed, and the blonde has sought of the brune. Elskis, thou may mean carry piggy. And the dunkle dames have countered with the hellish fellows. Who ails tongue cutto art a space of dumb-bill silly? And they fell upon one another, and themselves they have fallen. And still no one knights, and by knights of yore do all bold floras of the field with their shy fond lovers say only, Call me ere I wilt to thee, and but a little later, pluck me whilst I blush. Well, may they wilt marry and profusely brush betroth, for that saying is as old as Howitz. Lev ye well in the well wheelbarrow. Isn't that the troth I'm tellin' ye? Have fins and flippers and shimmy and shake. Timmy can, tempt her temp and tam. Flippity flippity flippow.